Boopity bop bop ba doop boop bop. Shimmy bop bop ba shoop shoop bop. Fibbity bop bop ba doop boop bop. Yeah, that's what I do when I don't have anything else for a cold open. Greetings, one and all, and welcome back to Tom's Hit Parade. By the way, I invite you to hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up if you like what you see, share this video with your friends, and leave me your thoughts down in the comments section. I would love you for it. So this is going to be a fairly short video. It's going to be my latest John Williams update. Every time I do a John Williams update, I hope it's not the last John Williams update. And it probably never will be. I don't know, never say never, but there will, for a while still, I think there will be some source material for remastered and expanded editions of John Williams classic scores. In fact, both La La Land and Entrada at the beginning of 2026 hinted that they had some John Williams releases on their schedule for this year. I haven't seen any from either yet. And I mean, you can't blame them. I mean, you never know when licensing or other legal stuff can get in the way, or sometimes engineering snafus, or maybe procuring the tapes. So some kind of logistical stuff could get in the way. So I don't blame the labels. I think a lot of us don't really realize the work and all the moving parts, that go into making these releases. A lot of work and stuff. I've heard podcasts with Mike Matessino, one of the producers of these releases, and there is a lot of work involved in getting them out into the hands of us consumers. So yes, I guess we can only bide our time and hope that before the year is out, we'll get some John Williams content. I know there are a lot of stuff from the 80s and 90s primarily have not been, some stuff has not been expanded on yet. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe that's going to be the focus of a lot of what we'll see. And hopefully his soundtrack for The Rare Breed, one of his earlier films, will finally see the light of day. I would love to hear that score in its entirety. But anyway, to bide us over, to tide me over until then, I have collected a handful of John Williams things here that I will be showing you in a second. About a dozen CDs and a book. And I don't remember if I showed this in my Portland haul video a couple months ago, but I did buy this up in Portland, but I think I may have forgotten to show it to you. It is a book. It is Tim Grieving's book, John Williams, A Composer's Life, basically a biography. And it's not authorized, but only technically it's not an authorized biography. But because Tim Grieving did go to the source, he interviewed John Williams himself several times and gave John Williams the manuscript to okay. He wouldn't publish it without John Williams's okay. So it's authorized in every way except in name only on the cover. So yes, and as you can see, the thickness of this book, I'm sure it goes into way more detail than the documentary movie music by John Williams, which was put out while this book, I think they worked on the book, the movie, and Tim Grieving worked on the book about the same time, concurrently. So have not cracked this open yet. Yes, I've had it for a few months, and yes, the mega John Williams fan that I am still has not opened this book, but I'm having a heck of a time trying to remember that that's a habit that I could start, is, in the evenings to wind down, reading. Instead, I sit there and watch YouTube videos in the evening for the last hour before I go to bed. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I don't mean to, I certainly don't want to disparage the platform on which I put my videos, but I enjoy watching YouTube. What can I say? But yes, one of these days I will start reading. I think the subconscious me connects reading with school, which I struggled with. I graduated. I got my high school diploma, but school was a struggle for me. And I think part of it was I may have some degree of ADHD. I was never diagnosed, but I just for as long as I can remember, I had some trouble focusing to some degree. So anyway, to not get off on a tangent there, but yes, I think that's the problem. The problem that I have with reading. I'm sure I would enjoy reading if I got rid of that subconscious connection with school. I'll give it a try. And what more should I give it a try with? And how compelled can I be to give it a try than with a John Williams book? If anything's going to do it, that's going to do it. Anyway, let's check out the dozen-ish CDs that I have added to my John Williams collection lately. Now, the first one is a very tenuous connection. There's only one song on it that has anything to do with John Williams. This is Masayoshi Takanaka. He is a Japanese jazz guitarist. He started back in the 70s. This is his fourth album, I think, Brazilian Skies. It has Brazilian and Latin rhythms to it, as you could tell by the title. But take a look at track number 5, Star Wars Samba. Yes, it is a Latin arrangement of the Star Wars theme. And this album was put out in 1978, which was, I believe, Star Wars came out in Japan in early 78. So yes, Star Wars fever was in high gear. So naturally, artists would, and I'm sure Takanaga's not the only one, who would take advantage of that and do their own renditions of Star Wars. Oh yeah, Miko Monardo, the Italian or like Latin disco instrumental artist, did a bunch of Star Wars themes. But yes, very entertaining, and the rest of this album is pretty good too. If you like Latin instrumental guitar, check out Brazilian Skies. And if you like instrumental guitar in general, from the 70s and 80s, Masayoshi Takanaka is an artist you might want to check out. So this next one has a little more to do with John Williams. 3 out of the 12 tracks on here are composed by John Williams. This was from a 50s or 60s detective show on TV called M Squad. And yeah, so yes, John Williams scored a few of the episodes of M Squad. Count Basie, Benny Carter, Stanley Wilson composed some of the other stuff. But yeah, there are 3 tracks on here that were composed by John Williams. I've got CDs that have less John Williams than this on them. I've got CDs, obviously, that have a lot more John Williams on them. But yes, I was very happy to add this to my John Williams TV collection of themes. I've got the Irwin Allen shows that he did back in the 60s and stuff. So yeah, cool to have that in my collection. I've got like 4 compilations of his themes conducted by either himself or other people. Now, this first one, I only got this one because I've got several installments in this compilation series. I'm kind of collecting them at this point, I guess. Not just any that I find. I mean, I like to have some interest in the artist. But this is the John Williams and the Boston Pops installment in the 20th Century Masters Millennium Collection series. And yes, I'm sure I have every single one of these tracks on other CDs that I have, but still, it's part of the Millennium Collection, so I had to have it. In fact, this track listing is very similar to the by request, the best of John Williams and the Boston Pops CD that I have, that I've had for, oh gosh, 30 years. I've owned that one. So, but anyway, as I said, redundancy aside, I had to have it for being part of my John Williams collection and being part of my 20th Century Masters Millennium collection. So yes, there's that one. This one, I almost picked it up when it came out. This was back in 2018. They make these things so small, and it's black printing on blue background. So yay, graphic design. So anyway, as I said, I almost picked this up when I saw it, but passed on it until I saw it for, I think it was $5 from fsmcds.com. So, and it's in perfect condition. This is A Life in Music. This is music performed by the London Symphony Orchestra, conducted by Gavin Greenaway. So, yes, it's on the Decca label. And yeah, the track listing is pretty run-of-the-mill. There's nothing really extraordinary on it, except for the Hymn to the Fallen from Saving Private Ryan. That's probably the most unusual track on this track list. But still, it's John Williams stuff, and it's performed by the London Symphony Orchestra. So that's a winning combination, in my opinion. Now, this one came out just last year. Oh, no, 2026, actually, this year. I just happened to see it. I think I'm part of a couple of John Williams interest Facebook groups, and somebody there posted about this. I had no idea it existed, so I got it. John Williams, a tribute by the Danish National Symphony Orchestra, conducted by Anthony Hermus. So, yes, this one, it's got a few interesting, a few unconventional choices for the track listing, like 7 Years in Tibet and Born on the 4th of July, and a couple of his classical renditions as well. So yes, good stuff. Good performances. I've heard quite a bit better, but I've heard worse also. So, but yes, very happy to have this in my collection, as part of my collection. And then this next one, if you watched my haul video last week, I talked about this one, and I found out about this a few months ago, and it was just released last month. Actually, it is the President's Own United States Marine Band, conducted by John Williams, and it's programs of his film themes. And this is a 2-disc set of stuff one show in July 12th, 2003, and the other one is July 20th, 2008. So that's when the shows were done, and a couple of just two almost entirely different track lists for both performances. So yes, a 2-disc set of John Williams stuff performed by a band. And one thing I didn't realize until an embarrassingly recent time ago was the difference between a band and an orchestra. Band in this sense. A band has no strings. That's basically the difference. So it makes these things, the arrangements on these, a little bit different. So the stuff that is normally assigned to strings has to be assigned to other woodwinds or brass. So it makes for an interesting listen. I personally prefer orchestras and symphony orchestras over bands. I prefer having the strings just for a more well-rounded sound. But still, that was very entertaining to listen to. Take a quick drink. Dry throat. And now we're getting into the soundtracks, original recordings and re-recordings. Found a couple. I sold a couple of really pricey items on Discogs, and so I had a nice big windfall of cash. So I got one or two things that I ordinarily wouldn't have gotten because they're very expensive. One of them was the soundtrack from Cinderella Liberty. This was one of John Williams' late 60s or early 70s films. And yes, this one goes for quite a bit. This one goes for like $80 or more online. But I was able to grab it just because I sold some big ticket items. So it was nice to have this one, finally have this one in my collection, pretty much making my collection of his soundtracks complete. Now, when I say complete, I don't mean I have, by complete, I mean I have at least one version of each one of his soundtracks. I don't have every version of all of his soundtracks. So that's my definition of complete. A couple of re-recordings here by the Royal Scottish National Orchestra. And yes, I have the original releases of both, but I've kind of become a collector, an aficionado of the Royal Scottish renditions of soundtracks. So I figured, why not go all in and collect the ones that I was missing? So one of them is Midway. Yes, they released this one in 1998, and then like 3 or 4 years later, they Varese Sarabande, the same label, got a hold of the actual original score recordings and released that. So this was kind of a stopgap until they were able to obtain the actual original scores. So there we go. Nice addition to my collection. And this one, I had already had the original recording, but another Royal Scottish Orchestra. This one is their rendition of Jaws. And this was, at the time this was put out, this was the most complete recording of the score. This had a lot of cues from the score that the official soundtrack recordings didn't have. So until they a few years later came out with more complete score recordings. So yeah, very nice to have those. And then we have this one along with, well, let me show you what this one is first. Jaws 2. This is the original Varese Sarabande release. This one still goes for a relatively decent amount of money. There is a 2-disc expanded release from La La Land that is, or excuse me, from Entrada that is really expensive. It goes for $100 plus. So I'm totally okay with this one. And the big ticket item that I was talking about selling on Discogs, so I had the money to get this and Cinderella Liberty, was that big 20 CD box set from Europe of John Williams. I can't remember what it was called, but it was the one that came in the book. This oblong book that had 20 CDs in it. Yes, you John Williams fans are going to think that it's sacrilegious of me to sell that, but Cinderella Liberty and Jaws 2 were the only recordings that I didn't have standalone CDs of out of all that stuff. So that box set was kind of redundant, and I figured, I'm kind of particular in my own little brain about having, these standalone CDs rather than just in box sets. So I figured, sell that to finance getting the last 2 individual CDs that I was missing. So that was my logic. Sell that box set to somebody else who would really, really enjoy and appreciate having it. So that's what I figure, rather than having it sit on my shelf being mostly a redundancy. But anyway, yes, that's the story behind me getting Cinderella Liberty and Jaws 2. So I hope that entertained you. Anyway, this next one, I had a the 1-disc Fox release of the score, but then again on fsmcds.com, he had a 2-disc version of this. It is Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. And again, this one goes for quite a bit of money, but if you time it right, if they have them, you can get good deals on fsmcds.com. This one on one of the discs has a couple of scratches on it, but it doesn't affect play. But yeah, I got a good deal on it, $40, $45. So yes, it can go for like $80 or $90. Now, after Varese Sarabande put out this 2-disc release, I believe it was La La Land put out a 2-disc release. I don't know what the difference is between them. Usually the La La Land ones are remastered, rescanned and remastered at a higher resolution, so perhaps slightly better sound quality, but I'm totally okay with this. I have an affinity for the Varese Sarabande label anyway, so yeah. Was happy to add an expanded version of Home Alone 2 to my library. And the final CD in this video today is John Williams' most recent, hopefully not his final, score for the Steven Spielberg movie Disclosure Day. So yes, very good score. I have not watched the movie yet. I intend to, but yes, and funny enough, this was put out on an independent label, Waxwork Records. Yes, I don't know why it wasn't put out on a more prominent label, but such is life, I guess. So yeah, very good stuff. A pretty strong score. So if that ends up being his last score, I think he went out on a high note, and of course on a collaboration with his best buddy Steven Spielberg. So yes, very good stuff. So yes, those are the latest accumulations in my collection of John Williams music. Yes, and I hope that's not the last of them. I hope to get more as time goes on. As I said, hopefully we'll get some nice, tasty, juicy re-releases in the coming months and years. So that'll do it for this video. Be sure to like it if you liked it. And before you go, drop me some feedback in the comment section. I'd love to know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell icon to catch my new videos, hit my username and browse my old videos. Links to my socials and favorite fellow YouTubers are in the description below. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and remember, life's too short to be a music snob.